All right. Welcome, family. Thank you for joining wherever you may be. I have a very special guest in the LAB, the lab, where we're always learning, ascending, and becoming, right? Putting those three things together. So we'll have many more, but we'll never have another first initial episode, right?
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
yes, we have a very special guest on episode numero uno. All right, we have Mr. Patrick Odom. How you doing, sir?
I'm well. I'm well. Blessed and highly favored. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
No problem, and we're excited to have you, man. We're excited to have you. Um, Let me just take a second to introduce you to the family and let them know how I came to know you, right? So,
All right.
I didn't meet Patrick at first, right? I actually met Patrick through my office mate or my next door office partner, his spouse, his wife, right?
My
They had
better
just
half.
yes,
My better
yes,
half. My better
yes,
half.
Miss Odom.
Yes.
um, they had just came in from another installation, and she held a assignment previous at that installation and was looking to do the same thing. I work at a social service center, and she was just asking about how we ran, so I just encouraged her to apply. And if I remember correctly, she didn't get it the first time, but the second time around, a little
Right. Right.
persistence, right?
Right.
It,
Right.
it, it all fell through. It all fell through, and now, I hear her music and she hears mine day after day, depending on what type of mood I'm in and how I'm presenting. I listen to certain type of music to get me in that mode.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
and then the other piece I'll mention about Patrick is when I was an understudy at this position, uh, I had to do a presentation. It was one of my first presentations, and he was one of my hot sections, right? I wasn't getting too many heads nodding, but he was one of the ones. And we didn't know each other at this time, but he was one of the ones nodding his head, like, "Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying." So I really appreciate it. Just the relationship has grown since then. Um, but for those of you who may not be familiar with the military, uh, he served over 20 years in the Air Force, with one of his last positions being a first sergeant. So if you could take some time to tell the people, what doesn't an Air Force first sergeant do, because they do so much.
Wow. Look, you teed that question up appropriately with what doesn't an Air Force first sergeant do? I really can't think of what we don't do because the going joke is that we're a jack of all trades, a master of none. Um, and anything dealing with people, that's where we are. If there's any concerns with our people, which affects their families, which affects their well-being, which affects everything that could go on with them, we're there. They're really, I guess I can't say there isn't a limit because there is a limit with our structure and everything. But for the most part, there are not many limits on what we will go to do for our people, and that includes time. Right, with 24/7, a first sergeant is on the line. So if we looked at it in the civilian sector, which I'm now officially a part of, then you would look at it like your human resources manager. But again, it doesn't stop once you clock out. It actually continues on throughout your daily life. I hope
Yeah,
that's a good description.
uh, I think it's excellent, and I'll bring it home a little bit more. Uh, Man, I used to see him coming to our center, and he would have service members that were getting out of the Air Force, and he would just be focused, making sure that they're getting the appropriate amount of resources on their way out, right? And I've seen this over and over again with the number of service members. So, like I said, taking care of them from beginning to end, right? From when you come in, first duty station, to when you're about to separate it. That first line is that main resource, or that first line of defense, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. Hey, again, that's money. That's money. That's
All
money.
right. Go ahead.
And if I may, I think about this, and sometimes we would get the questions, why? I mean, you have to put this much time and effort into this person. And my answer is because it's the people who make the not only the Air Force but any organization run. Without the people, the boots on the ground getting it done, then you really don't have an organization. So first sergeants, and I tried to lead by example in this. I was all about taking care of the people first, which was going to and then ensure that the mission gets taken care of. So
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And that leads us into why I have you on numero uno, episode number 1. Wanted to talk to you a little bit about DLS, Diamond Leadership Solutions, right? What it's about, what opened your eyes to say, hey, I'm going to try to own a business instead of, I know a lot of people that separate from the military go that government GS route, right? So we'll get into that. But could you tell the family what is DLS in your own words?
in my own words, DLS stands for Diamond Leadership Solutions. And what we want to do as a brand is we want to enhance interpersonal communication, the interpersonal communication skills of everyone that we come in contact with. This includes leaders at all levels, down to the employee who's a leader in their own right, but at this point in their life, they may not be leading people. So we want to make sure that from the top to the bottom, or the bottom to the top, however you want to put it, that everyone has the communication skills to make the organization run efficiently and effectively. That's in a nutshell what Diamond Leadership Solutions is about.
Man, what I'm hearing is great teamwork, right?
It's all about teamwork.
That's what I'm hearing.
It's all about teamwork. For me, as a leader, number one, I believe the foundation of being a leader, before you could be a great leader, you have to first be an excellent follower. So with that being your foundation, you understand that you need every member of your team at each level, and everyone has to be on one accord, working towards getting the goal accomplished. So it's that leader's job, in my humble opinion, it's that leader's job to be the catalyst to ensure that the proper messaging is going out, that they're leading by example, and their team is working efficiently.
Awesome. And just knowing, in my brief time of being a government employee, there's a lot of opportunities for leadership development, leadership classes. Almost sometimes like, wow, so much to pick. So how did you end up settling on, I believe the assessment name is the DISC assessment. How did you, I want to say, weed through that assessment when there's the Myers-Briggs, the 4 lenses, the 4 colors, all these different things?
Right. You think about it, and and everybody has a solution, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a great question. I had my aha moment, if you will, in 2016 when I was I was fortunate enough to head down to. I was stationed in Korea, and I was fortunate enough to get picked up for Senior Non-Commissioned Officer Academy. And at that time, I was working in a position to where I was working with leaders among leaders. For those of us who are familiar with military terms, I was working in a staff position and in a staff position, they were over policies and procedures for the whole peninsula of Korea. That's where I was.
Oh, wow.
So with that, as a first sergeant dealing with people, where I'm used to being, if you will, at the organizational level. And what I mean by the organizational level is we are the boots on the ground that are making things happen. And at the staff level, as the policies, procedures come down, we implement the policies and procedures.
Right.
So when I got to the staff level, to be honest, I'm such a people person. I initially had an issue there because there were more policy problems than people problems. And as a first sergeant, I'm about the people, right? So now, mind you, I'll tell you this. I'll say at all levels, I don't care who you are. I don't care where you are. There's going to be people problems. The people problems just look different. Okay. So that being said, when I went to Senior Non-Commissioned Officer Academy, that's when I was first introduced to the Wiley Everything Disc model. And at that point in time, we were using the paperwork, a paper format of the Everything Disc, and it just showed me myself in a whole nother light, and it gave me something tangible to walk out of the classroom with, to take back to my staff position and actually become a better leader in my own right, a better first sergeant, because then I properly knew how to deal with the personalities that I was dealing with at the higher levels.
And that key word right there, whether it's in the military setting or civilian setting, but you had said properly assess yourself or properly look at yourself, right? Because what we're effectively trying to do, whether we're a manager, civilian world, military world, we're trying to get something accomplished, right? And we have a select amount of people that we've often been given. We don't always get the draft, right?
Right.
It's, how do I get the most? I see the talent in you, but I don't want to say pushing the buttons, but how do I get the most out of these people that I have, right, to get this mission accomplished? So I like that you said it starts with you, though, right?
Yes. Matter of fact, that is the key. The first thing that I noticed when I took my initial assessment, my first time introduced to this disc model, I noticed that my personality style and my tendencies, there's nothing wrong with them, because you are who you are. Okay, being aware of who you are is another thing, though. What I did is I took my behavior patterns and my tendencies, and then I tried to utilize those to assist and win over and help people in ways that they did not need to be helped. I'm now to bring this all in with my personality. So DISC stands for dominance, influence, steadiness, and conscientiousness. All right.
We was getting there. Thank you. Go ahead.
Right. So I am more on the IS style. And when I say IS style, that means like your influence and steadiness. Okay. However, where I was working with a lot of leaders who worked more out of the dominance and conscientiousness now.